Welcome back, Soulful Society, to Soulful of Wellness,
the multi-generational podcast brought to you by two functional imperfectionists
and certified coaches
who deliver tips to help you live your most authentic, balanced, and anxiety-free life.
Happy holiday season, Soulful Society. This week, this one is for the perfectionists. We're sharing 4 tools to heal perfectionism, how to grow through it, and how you can prevent excess stress this holiday season. And who wouldn't want that?
Welcome, Soulful Society. Before jumping on the mic just now, Kaelynn and I did a quick check of our stats because, you need that little dopamine hit to get you going, and decided to share with you our utmost gratitude for your listenership, for your dedication, and you are obviously helping spread the soulful word because we can see the slope of those downloads increasing each month after month, and kind of like getting those likes on Instagram. To us, it feels so good, and we love it, and we love doing the podcast for you, so we're feeling the mutual love. Thank you for sharing episodes. Thank you for helping us get the word out and letting friends, colleagues, family members know we're here.
It is so rewarding to see your dedication, your listenership, and ultimately really what is a dedication to yourself and your wellness journey. And we know that you have an ocean of podcasts to choose from. And to know that you choose us and you choose to be a part of the Soulful Society is the most...
everything.
The most. It's just the most.
Yeah. So... thank you.
Thank you. We are so excited to get into this week's topic. This one is a re-release from last year. We were listening to get inspiration to think about what is something timely and helpful that we can discuss. And we felt like this episode definitely still rings true.
Yeah, who doesn't need a little guide, a little bit of helpful reminders, a few quick and easy strategies to use when things get tough, when they get emotional during the holidays. Supposed to be fun, often fun, not always fun.
Sometimes not. And I think specifically approaching it from the perfectionist lens is pretty much on brand as our imperfectionist noun continues to evolve as we ride this journey of perfectionist recovery. I think it's good to be able to own it and acknowledge it because sometimes we don't zoom out enough and we're just in it. We're in our stress and our overwhelm. And I think this could be really useful to be able to name it, acknowledge it, and use these tools to get yourself out of the unnecessary stress that you're putting yourself under.
So true. Catch yourself when you're doing it. It's when you're in it, in that overwhelm, in that anxiety, that it's hardest to recognize. Mm-hmm. And so if you can see it in yourself and say, I know what I'm doing. I'm perseverating on needless details. Or I'm not getting started because I fear I'm not going to be successful, and just call yourself out on it. And then it helps you get over that little hump and the stuck point, and then you can move forward.
So without further ado, we give you this episode. We gift it to you again. I know Kit and I didn't remember what we had said, and so listening it back was helpful.
Oh my gosh, reading the summary in Apple Podcasts, and I'm thinking, we did that? Why don't I remember that? But now I remember. Reference to being 2 years into the pandemic at one point. Just remember, this was 1 year ago, one day off, almost exactly 1 year ago.
Thank you for sharing this podcast with your friends and family. We love you so, so much, and we'll see you on the other side. In today's episode, we're going to explain a little bit about perfectionism, but specifically as it relates to the holidays, and get into a little bit about people pleasing. And then we will give you our 4 soulful tools to help reduce your holiday stress and prevent and manage holiday perfectionism.
If you practice these tools over the holidays, you can then apply them throughout the rest of your life because they're equally valid in all times.
Definitely. And I learned a lot in preparation for this episode, specifically about perfectionism being tied to procrastination, but not in the way that you might think. So I learned that procrastination can actually show up in this idea, which we've talked about before, right? Over planning and over researching. And so I could totally relate to that when it comes to buying gifts for people, just sort of sitting on it way too long, trying to get the perfect gift. And then what do you know? Their birthday or the holiday is there and you don't have anything.
A lot of little things came together as we prepped for this episode. A lot of little telltale signs from throughout my life just clicked into place as I made some of those, oh my gosh, that's why. I have found myself, for example, so many times in my life saying, how old do I need to be before I figure this out? How many years is it going to take till I stop procrastinating until it's too late to even finish what I need to do in the time frame? Like, when am I going to get it together? Some of our research and our talking each other through it to get ready for this episode helped me really understand what I need to fundamentally change to hopefully not find myself saying those things to myself over and over for the rest of my life.
Oh, for sure. And it takes a level of gentleness and compassion with yourself, which is easier said than done, totally understandably. I remember a quote that I love, and it's something along the lines of, good enough is good enough. And so that can be a helpful mantra for our fellow imperfectionists, recovering perfectionists, in trying to navigate the journey of healing.
And if you even recoil from hearing that, that's a major sign that you might be an active perfectionist. Because when I was fully entrenched in my world of perfectionism, not at all on my road to recovery yet, I didn't believe in good enough. It actually caused this reaction in me where I got almost indignant about it when people would say, oh, it's good enough. And I would respond in this, ew, yuck, stop. No, there's no such thing. And I was very proud to tell myself I didn't believe in good enough. There was no such thing. If you said good enough about something, that meant it wasn't good enough because it meant you were copping out. You were accepting less than your best. And now that I can have a little perspective, I understand the constant, relentless pursuit of my best at all times on every task is exhausting and draining and a recipe for disaster.
Recipe for burnout, for sure.
Not everything deserves your very best effort. Some things it's fine with half an effort, a decent effort, because they're minor things. You have to think, how important is this? How much effort does it even warrant?
Yeah, and this is coming up, I feel like, as a very sort of, we talk about divine timing, we believe in it, and it really is starting to resonate for me, especially because I've been thinking a lot about the notion of overwhelm and how a lot of us adults are just feeling totally hit with a tsunami of responsibilities and tasks. And it kind of seems like the collective is sort of just tired and not up for the challenge. And I don't know if this is a result from the pandemic, which is crazy to think about that we've almost been dealing with this for 2 years. And I don't know if that's just the way society is right now as a result of that. And that's perfectly okay. But I'm just noticing overwhelm for the littlest things, even when it comes to planning. So having this idea of, I'm just going to try, or this doesn't need 1,000% of my energy or my effort, can be a good way to sort of chunk things out and reduce overwhelm.
Knock a few of the things off the list.
Yeah.
The things that don't need to be perfect because, well, probably nothing can, but definitely not everything can. So pick some of those things that you just need to plain old do, not do beautifully, not do the best of anybody, not do the most memorably.
Mm-hmm.
Knock them off your list, and then the list isn't quite as daunting.
The mere just starting one task on the list starts to calm yourself down, calm the brain down, and gets things rolling and starts to build that confidence. The more we stare at the list, the more we add to the list, the more we think about the list, the more, I don't know about you, I shut down or just get completely overwhelmed and mad stressed out when it's not warranted.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about how perfectionism can be exhibited during the holidays, why this causes stress, and then obviously we'll get into how to manage and prevent.
Yep, that sounds great. Well, obviously, there's the notion of holidays are a memorable experience.
Mm-hmm.
So when the whole family gets together, you're thinking, we're making memories. People are going to remember this one, especially if you're hosting or you're cooking.
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking, I want everybody to leave saying, oh my gosh, the best holiday dinner we've ever had, or that was really one for the record books. Those perfectionists out there, you're nodding along with me. Yeah, that's a lot of pressure. It's an admirable goal. I don't know that it's the healthiest goal.
No, and be kind to yourself. But perfectionists also have very high standards, and they become very disappointed and sort of start to spiral. There's various negative emotions that come with that. Disappointed if they don't meet their high standards.
The high standards aren't always realistic standards. And if you are the perfectionist setting the standards for yourself that you're falling short of because they're basically unachievable by any mere mortal, you're the only one with those standards. Typical humans have realistic expectations and criteria for success. So you are very likely very successful in the eyes of your loved ones, of the people eating this dinner or attending the holiday gathering.
Yes.
People are probably looking around saying, wow, great decorations,
Mm-hmm.
awesome food presentation, amazing setup, gorgeous fire, fantastic apple cider. And in your mind, all you're seeing are the ways it didn't meet your very most perfect idea.
Yeah.
So you're miserable.
Oh,
Then
yeah.
people are going to start to notice, wow, you're really stressed out. Oh my gosh, can I help? No, perfectionists do not want help. So no, you cannot help. And then people are like, oh my God.
You're changing the vibe. You're changing the vibe.
Absolutely.
In a negative way.
The whole energy.
And then you're self-sabotaging in a way without even realizing it because you're upset that it's not perfect. But
Right.
I love that little tool that we're adding in right now about perspective shift. And that can be challenging, but I feel like it's helpful to just listen to what you said, Kit, about these family members are probably looking around super content and happy and impressed by you. And meanwhile, you're over here metaphorically lighting yourself on fire with stress and panic because the souffle isn't perfect or the cocktail napkins didn't arrive on time. It's all good.
Right. Things you can't control. The guests didn't arrive on time, so you didn't put out the hors d'oeuvres at the time you had planned to have the appropriate amount of time between that and the main course, and things that nobody else is going to clock at all.
Also, a helpful perspective shift is remembering why we're all here in the first place to gather for this celebration. It's to spend quality time with everyone and to enjoy each other's company and to hopefully laugh and love and live.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not depending on you for their memories. They're there for the experience, and the experience is going to create the memories.
Yes. And the people that you love and don't get to see on a regular basis. Oh, I love it. So those can be some helpful little mini tips, sprinkling in some more wellness goodness for you. So also holiday perfectionism can look like your mindset is it's stressful and disappointing if everything doesn't get done on time. So it can be sort of this aspect of timeliness. Just like you kind of said when your example, Kit, people arriving or food not being ready in time, or maybe the gifts aren't arriving in time and you just have to sort of audible and go with the flow.
This year of all years where
Yeah.
Amazon Prime out the window. Remember when you used to order and it would be there not in less than 24 hours, but the following day? And that was pretty much a guaranteed thing. That doesn't even happen anymore.
It's crazy before that even existed. We would just wait like 7
Oh my
business
gosh.
days.
You'd wait and wonder.
Yeah.
Now we track the packages. We're like, my package is still in Philadelphia. What the heck is Philadelphia doing with my dang package?
Oh my God, I stock all my packages.
It's a little much.
So having high demands for yourself, high expectations, and feelings of failure, when in reality, you're the one putting the pressure on yourself. You're the one setting that high barometer, and there's no such thing as failure. It's always a lesson or experience or laughter.
That's such a good point, because let's go back to that souffle that you didn't get to serve at the time you had on your little spreadsheet schedule you had going for yourself. Let's say it actually burns. Well, those are some of my favorite memories, not just holiday, but like family dinner memories when I was a kid, is the epic fails, the things that went colossally wrong that we laugh about for years to come. And I don't mean laugh at anyone's expense. We collectively laugh at just the absurdity of family and how it's okay. You can burn the whole main dish. We're not going to go hungry. We're going to work it out. We're going to figure it out. We're all going to do something together. And we're going to have this collective experience that we enjoy for years to come, even, or maybe especially, when it's based around an epic fail.
Yeah, one Thanksgiving, my childhood dog, Bailey, got up when no one was looking on the table and started eating all of the Thanksgiving food. And that just totally immortalizes her. I just think that that's the funniest thing. And we were all cracking up. Of course, in mid-panic, my mom's like grabbing her by the collar like, Bailey, what are you doing?
Oh.
But looking back, it's hilarious.
It is, isn't it? Like the more time that goes by, the happier those things that went wrong memories can be.
Yeah.
You just look back, you're like, oh my gosh.
Let's talk about this interesting notion of feeling inferior for not meeting your high standards. Like, that makes me so sad to actually think about, but it's a total reality for some people. Beating yourself up, like you were saying earlier, negative self-talk, ruminating thoughts, spiralizing, and also just treating yourself really poorly and beating yourself up and feeling inferior. I don't know to whom.
Right.
Or to what, but just not feeling like you met your standards.
This can be greatly exacerbated if anyone somewhere in the course of your history makes a comment about something that you already feel a little insecure about.
Those are the ones that cut the deepest.
Right. To clarify with a personal example of what I'm talking about is I never felt that secure in my gift-giving ability. Might sound funny to people who've never even thought too hard about their gift-giving ability. I have those friends who are just great gift givers, and I admire it.
Yep, they all come to mind right now.
And
when you said that,
they are.
You can think of them.
Younger me didn't have all this crazy anxiety and didn't worry about it too much. Just thought, oh, I admire that. Wow, she has a real instinct. She always gets me something really on point. But then as I got quirkier over the years, I started to get stressed about it and get some anxiety about it, because then I'd think, oh my gosh, mine are never as good to her as hers are to me. I've got to up my game. I've got to be better. And then I had one important person in my past who said, not intending, I don't think to be as cruel as it wound up being, but said that I wasn't a good gift giver, basically not using those words. Well, that cut because it was something I was already thinking might be a thing, was hoping wasn't a thing, or at least not a thing that other people would notice. But now it had been pointed out to me. So clearly it was noticed. So in my mind, everyone noticed it, which made me incredibly apprehensive when it comes to gift giving, something I still struggle with to this day. And I really have to talk myself down from the ledge about that.
Kit, you gifted me AirPods. Okay, that was iconic.
Well, see, this is when it's easy for me, is when I don't have to think, what do I get, Kaelynn? What do I get, Kaelynn? You had lost the AirPods. You were very, very sad and spent a lot of time looking for the AirPods, and they were not coming back to you. And I thought they were going to come back to you, and they didn't. So that was an easy one for me because I knew you needed them. I knew you would use them. I knew exactly what you wanted. I knew what color. It was the easiest. That one was easy. By the way, have you checked your mail lately?
I have not. I have not checked it since I've been back. Ooh,
okay.
I'm excited. Okay, I'm going to check.
All right, back to the episode.
Okay. Sorry, guys. So I feel like we pretty much covered perfectionism. We know what it feels like. We know what it looks like. Be on the lookout for that and try to come up with a mantra that really resonates for you when it comes to just doing the minimum or doing your best, but like not your very best, like Kit was referring to. So, all right, moving on to people pleasing. So people pleasers by nature, their biggest concern can often be summed up as the fear of how others may react to something. And also it means you like for people to be happy with you. And that seems to be, in my own words, an intrinsic motivator for your actions, for your behavior is I want people to be happy with me. So whatever it takes.
It is very much a fear-based mindset. It's fear of letting somebody down, fear of disappointing, fear of not being there for someone who needs you for something or is counting on you or depends on you or trusts you. So it's a very fear-based position, and it winds up completely backfiring because you wind up not being there for anyone in the way you want to be, certainly not yourself, because you're spread so damn thin.
Yeah, and that's where we talk about you can't fill someone else's cup until you fill your own first. Self-love is not selfish. I mean, we can't say that enough, but honestly, it really is in those small decisions every day, in those small moments where to remind yourself, I got to put myself first right now. I got to do my morning movement, or I got to just listen to this podcast right now, or I just need a breather. And time and space and energy for your brain not to be in worry mode about others.
Yeah, you can't be everything to everyone.
And I feel this a lot, and I know people my age who feel this. I can't even imagine what mothers, aunts, caretakers, caregivers feel.
When it's actually your job to do those things. And so you tell yourself, well, I signed up for this. I asked to be a mom. I wanted to be a mom. And then, there's this added level of pressure.
But not at the expense of your well-being and your wellness. And just reminding yourself you're going to be a better mom and a better caretaker and have more energy for the both of you or for the crew of you if you take care of yourself first. So ways to sort of mitigate that anxiety or stress is obviously first step, always awareness. Just being aware when you feel like those people-pleasing tendencies are starting to arise and bubble to the surface.
And question them. Say, why do I care about this? Why do I value this person's opinion of me? Why do I feel afraid that this person is going to be so disappointed in me if I say no to this?
If I say no to the holiday party, if I give a gift that doesn't land very well, if the list goes on and on. If I don't wrap it perfectly.
Here's one. What if the person gets you a gift and you don't have anything for them?
Ooh.
That is such a challenge for people pleasers because they think, oh my gosh, the person knows. There's no way to cover. There's no way to be like, oh my gosh, I left yours at home. Like, no, obviously you didn't. So that's a big thing for people pleasers. So they have to think of every permutation and prepare for it. That's exhausting.
That is so exhausting. So what can you do in that situation? I think the only option is to be very gracious and thankful, but not over the top.
Set healthy boundaries for yourself. Say, these are the people I exchange cards with. This is the level of friendship at which we exchange gifts. And maybe it's experiences. We meet for lunch, but we don't buy each other something. It's the idea that we carve out time during the busy holiday season to get together for a drink or for a meal or for a cup of coffee or whatever it is. And just set boundaries for yourself that no matter what choice that person makes, I'm making the choices that work for me. And sometimes they'll have a gift for you and you won't have one for them. And sometimes it'll be the other way around. And that's all okay.
And I think a good lesson to remind ourselves of is don't take anything personally. This holiday season, someone snaps at you, someone doesn't reciprocate, someone doesn't give you a gift and you gave them a gift, if someone is feeling sort of low vibrational energy, don't take it on, don't take it personally. Soulful caveat of the episode.
I feel like that theme I'm seeing more and more in media, like television shows or even movies, where we as the audience know what's going on because we know the backstory on the character, but we can see it from both perspectives. So we can see the character who's so hurt by what another character does or says or doesn't say, but we know the whole story. So I've been trying to extrapolate the message from that into my own life, which is much more challenging to do, and think, I don't know this other human being's backstory. I don't know what they went through this morning or this weekend or for the past year of their lives. So I'm just going to assume it's something not good, and I'm going to have the grace to just give them a pass on this, not react to it, certainly not escalate it, and do my very best to not take it personally and, to put it bluntly, hurt my feelings. And sometimes my feelings are hurt a little bit, but not as much or as long. It doesn't last as long as it did in the past when I really thought it was about me.
That's important progress to recognize.
Yeah.
It doesn't last as long.
I'm practicing. I feel like I'm getting better with the practice.
All right, so let's get to it. 4 ways to reduce your holiday stress and gain some perspective and manage your perfectionism. Number 1, accept imperfection.
Join the Imperfectionist Society.
Yes! Join the Soulful Wellness Imperfectionist Society.
Be with us.
We'd love to have you.
Put it out there. Practice saying it into the mirror. I am an imperfectionist.
It's fun, and it's also very
endearing
and loving to just sort of like love yourself for your quirks. And, I'm a spiller and a tripper, and we've talked about this in past episodes, like banging into things and getting so frustrated. But as imperfectionists, we are starting to see the charm in these things and sort of laugh it off and give ourselves grace.
It's a playful way to accept mistakes. Be a little lighthearted about things that, quite frankly, don't matter.
So try to enjoy the festivities this holiday season just as they are. Number 2, we said this before, we'll say it again. Don't lose sight of what counts. Why are you really there? What is the goal? It's to have a good time, to have some fun. So when you're feeling overwhelmed by the hustle and bustle and all the planning, you can ask yourself, where does this fit in the grand scheme of things? Can I use this moment of frustration as an opportunity to reflect? How can I make this stressful moment more pleasant?
Yeah, call yourself out. If you realize you're ruining it for yourself, call yourself out. Have a little talk with yourself. I want to have fun. And I'm the one impeding that. So I'm going to turn it around.
I love it. And of course, feel your feelings, sit with them, and then start asking yourself these questions.
Yeah, you can give yourself a little time out.
Yep.
The way kids get timeouts, you can give yourself a little turn it around timeout.
Love it.
All right. Number 3, respond with kindness. You basically can't go wrong by responding with kindness. Keep in mind that the holidays are difficult for many people. Whether people are lonely or suffering, consider how you being your compassionate self and taking things less personally is going to work better for you and probably those around you.
Definitely. Number 4, rethink your resolutions. So this is sort of when it comes to planning around the holidays. Start with something small and attainable, a goal that is sort of easy, and be kind to yourself. Notice when you're self-critic, because it'll inevitably come up. Notice when it shows up and pick your goals without guilt or shame.
Keep that self-talk on the positive side, or at least neutral, just making observations. Try to let go of the negativity.
This is your official invite to the Soulful Imperfectionist Club. Welcome.
We're happy to have you. Try it out. You might just like it as much as we do. With that, we wish you very happy, enjoyable holidays for you and for your loved ones. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate, and review. Thank you so much for joining us. Peace, love, and light.
Peace, love, and light.
The Soulful of Wellness hosts are certified health and wellness coaches. This podcast is intended to inform and entertain listeners on their wellness journey. This podcast is meant to enhance, not replace, listeners' care from doctors, therapists, or other medical providers.